We live? Yeah. Strick City. Woo! Strick City. All over the world.
Strick City, man, we live. Yo, Strick City on the ride. Yo, look like surprise. Yo, taking your city like we live. Yo, man, we live. Yo, taking your city like surprise. Yo, on the ride. Yo, Strick City coming live. Yo.
So what do you think this is other than Strick City? We are live, you know what I'm saying? I got my man Prophet on the hook for the song. Y'all know what this is. Every Tuesday, every Thursday night at 8 o'clock or somewhere about 8 o'clock, we go live. And man, I have some of the best guests. But before I can get to my guest tonight, I want to do something really, really cool. I want to ask you to do me a favor. Can you please, you know what I'm saying? Can you please share this? All you have to do is press the button. You know what I'm saying? It's really simple. Share this with your friends and family. I do not want them to miss an opportunity to hear from one of my good friends tonight. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a crazy, crazy show, and I don't want you to miss it. And I want to do this before I'm going to get started. So A-Lo is out there. She's like super, super chilling right now. So everybody that knows A-Lo, tell her ask her where she's at. Like, hey, where are you? You know what I'm saying? My girl, it's my co-host. I need you on the show. I'm calling you out. You know what I'm saying, I ain't forgot about you, okay? Just so you know, we got to get together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving you an opportunity to go ahead, get in, tell your friends about it. I want to definitely big up everybody from the star that's going to be watching tonight, New Rising Star Church. God bless y'all. Man, you know, some of the most supportive people you ever want to meet. Like, they're always there, always supportive, always helping out as much as they can. Well, I have their fearless leader tonight, the senior pastor of New Rising Star Church right out of Birmingham, Alabama, is on the show tonight. So, man, I'm giving y'all a chance to get on. Listen, I've already shared it. I need you to do it. And then we get started, because I want to give as many people an opportunity to see this tonight. I see you on. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching tonight. And for all my people that watch, you know what I'm saying, with one eye, like this, watch it in the feed, you know, that's cool too. Strick City loves you. Thank you for your support. All my people on YouTube. You know, I have a couple people that watch on Periscope through Twitter. So what's up to you guys as well? Y'all see what we've been trying to do our very best to make sure that the word gets out about what's happening on this show. So without further ado, I think that's enough talking. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for sharing it, Miss Allison. Tonight, I have stopped doing like one of my features I thought that was really, really cool. I was going to do it tonight, but I really want to spend as much time as I can talking to Pastor. And I didn't want to get a video in the way. I like doing videos, but now the interview portion goes so fast. It's just me and him tonight. We're going to talk, and if you have questions, I want you to send questions in. We're going to talk about the election tonight. We're going to talk about racial injustice tonight. We're going to talk about COVID-19. Hey, Lisa, appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Miss Terry, good to see you. Miss Boone, good to see you. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Without further ado, you know what I'm saying? I've talked enough. Can y'all please welcome with me, give him the best Strick City welcome that you can, all of your hearts and all the other kind of stuff, to my man, Dr. Thomas Beavers. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. How you doing? Let's get it.
Hey, dude, I appreciate you taking out the time tonight to hang out with me, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Any way I can make a contribution, let's do it.
Hey, do you not think that we don't already spend enough time together?
Man, I was just thinking about that before we did this on the night. We spent an insurmountable amount of time together, especially since COVID-19, man. We practically wake up talking to each other and go to sleep talking to each other about ministry stuff.
Let me ask you this question. Now that being said, I really can go right into it. Like at any point, do you ever like stop thinking about ministry? Do you like hold up? You know what? I want to think about something else today. Does it ever stop for you?
Yeah, man. Sometimes, to be honest, man, I think about it to a fault. It's hard not to think about it. I eat ministry, I sleep ministry, I breathe ministry to the point to where I run my body in the ground. Thinking about that, what I've got to learn to do a better job of is taking my Sabbath. You know, Jesus, God created the world in 6 days, rested on the seventh day, and He instituted the Sabbath as one of the 10 Commandments. And if
Right.
I'm honest, I have been breaking my Sabbath. I got to do a better job to do that so that my body doesn't break me.
Now you got to be careful with that. Well, my body does this thing, man. It says, okay, we shutting down. We're gonna sleep for a while. You can do what you want to do, but we were going to sleep. So I get it. I get it, man. Your passion for the people is evident in the way, even through the pandemic, the church has been giving. Can you kind of tell me your philosophy behind always trying to give to the community or wanting your ministry to be known as a giving ministry?
Man, giving is what we do. When we think about ministry, we do ministry in two different ways. We relieve people through outreach. Outreach is Matthew chapter number 25. Jesus says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was a stranger, you took me in. When I was sick, you came to visit me. When I was in prison, you came to visit me. He then said, when you do it to the least of these, you've done it unto me. And we also do ministry, not just by relieving people through outreach. We empower people through community development. So everybody knows the 6 ways we do that: education, financial literacy, workforce development, housing, recreation, and the church. So when we tell people to give to our church, we're really not saying give to a church. We tell people to give through a church, because the more you give to us, the more we're able to give back to our community.
So this is one thing I want to ask you about, and it's probably, for some of the topics we got, probably one of the easier topics tonight. And this COVID-19, like we're in 2020 has been like a year. Like I have not known a year like 2020. And I always tell people, there's people that have died in this pandemic. There's people that are suffering through this pandemic. And then there are people that are downright thriving through this pandemic. When it comes to doing ministry, was there a reason why? Well, this is what I want to say. How do you encourage people when people can be on different levels of that? Whether they've lost family members, whether they've lost jobs, whether they are sick, or whether they're downright, like I said, prospering through this time. How do you minister to people with those different elements at play?
I believe you minister to people through proximity. Proximity is being close to people, which is hard to do right now because of what they call social distancing, when in actuality is really physical distancing. When COVID-19 first hit, you can get tricked into being in your own bubble. And when you're in your own bubble, you think everybody is doing the way that you are doing. So therefore, as a consequence, if you're in a bubble that's doing well, you perceive that everybody is doing well. If you're in a bubble that's doing bad, you perceive that everybody is doing bad. The Bible declares in Hebrews chapter number 4, verse 15, we have not a high priest who cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities. He was tempted in all points, yet without sin. Therefore, we can come boldly before the throne of grace that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. What that says to all of us is that when Jesus came to earth, Jesus not only sympathizes with us. When you sympathize with somebody, you see what they are going through. When you empathize with somebody, you actually feel what they are going through. And as a pastor, being connected to our members, it has not allowed me to stay in a bubble. And so when I get to talk to our members, some of our members have been sick and been in the hospital. I've been touched with some infirmities myself. with the passing of my grandparents this year, which was absolutely devastating, absolutely hard to me. So by me feeling the infirmities of the people, I can't get too far out of touch from the people. At the same time, I've done really, really well this year. Our church has done really, really well. We've done better financially this year than we've ever done ever before. And so, how do you minister to people on all different levels? To minister to anybody, you got to be in touch with the person that you are ministering to. And so, I think the key thing is just staying in touch with people, which is what I've been trying to do.
And that's really a good point that you make, staying in contact with people. And we got a lot of people that are in contact with us tonight. Big shouts out to Dr. Tal Prince, who's chimed in tonight.
My man.
Val has chimed in tonight, and I have Miss Abrams from Maryland, Parksville, Maryland, is hanging out with us tonight. So we got people from all over the place that are hanging out with us tonight, and I appreciate that because now we started this out saying that between the two of us, we talk a lot together. So I know a lot of the questions that I'm going to answer, but it's not about me knowing them. I want the people to hear from you tonight like never before. Some of the things that are going through your mind, some of the things that we just talked about yesterday with the One New Birmingham, had an opportunity to be on stage with several pastors that you're meeting with, and we talked about the election. How was that experience for you when you're meeting with a diverse group of local pastors here in Birmingham to kind of get a feel of racial injustice, or just gathering together so you can have a diverse group of friends yourself?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a wonderful experience. It has stretched me, but it has also made me uncomfortable. And I have learned to be uncomfortable.
So I know he's answering the question, and every now and again, based on the system that we use in the technology, there's some technical difficulties with that. But if you haven't had an opportunity to watch the One New Birmingham conference and summit that was at the church yesterday, you can actually go to beatmetothestar.net and watch that. It's on the website on the front page. So again, that's beatmetothestar.net. Jackie Kennedy, good to see you tonight. Val, good to see you tonight. Thank you guys for coming on. Melissa Allen, I see you. Miss Grisham, I see you guys. Jennifer, I see you. Thank you for sharing and being a part of this tonight. I wanted to be sure that I got Pastor on to talk to him. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of connect with my audience and the church, and for us to kind of do this together. So this is what I want to do. I think we may be back on. Pastor, there you go. I got you back now.
That's what's up. So how's it been interacting with different people? It's been a wonderful experience. It has stretched me, but it has also made me uncomfortable. And I think I'm learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable. God has blessed me to be in a whole lot of different circles. And so on one hand, I'm in circles with both black and white people. It's diverse because it's black and white. It's diverse because it's mixed with people in the church world, people in the business world. It's diverse because it's mixed with people who are older, people who are younger. So it's generationally diverse. In the workplace, it is diverse. In the church world, the business world, it is diverse. At the same time, today I had the opportunity to do a press conference with another group of pastors. And we went down there in black suits, white shirts, and black ties. And when I got back to the church, first thing the staff said today is, you had on your good Baptist suit today. So I'm in one circle one night, and I'm in another circle on another day. And that has stretched me a lot. At the same time, I believe that God has called me to be in these different circles. He's called me to be a light in the midst of darkness. He's called me to show the love of God. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Well, I mean, that's really all we can do is be where God wants us to be. And I appreciate you walking as a leader for us in the community, especially in times like this. These are some times where, there's a lot more questions than there are answers. and people are more scattered than they have ever been. So for you to take the reins and kind of show us what we need to do, I personally appreciate it. And I want to be sure tonight that we have a chance to voice some of this stuff, that we get a chance to talk. Like last night, the question that was on the table last night was, how should Christians vote? Do you want to talk about some of the comments that came up last night from that conference?
Yeah, so we can talk about that a little bit. How should a Christian vote? I think the main thing, oftentimes I get a chance to talk to Dr. Tal Prince, and one of the things that we often talk about is both sides. If you are Christian, regardless of who you vote for, you have to be willing to say when your person is wrong. I think when we have erred, we've looked at the party more so than we have looked at the person. And we have dedicated our loyalty to a party absent from the characteristics of the person. It's not just about the policies, it is also about the person. So a lot of people will skip over the person and say, well, I like the platform because of the policies that they present on their platform. But you can have all of these policies, but if you don't have the leadership and the person to carry out these policies, then guess what? You're going to be stuck like Chuck either way it goes. Either way it goes, regardless of who you vote for, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. And when that happens, no matter who's in office, we should get something in exchange for our vote. It's our responsibility to hold our elected officials accountable. And so when it comes to how we vote, some people are one issue voters. Some people only care about the issue of abortion under the auspices of being pro-life, when in actuality, somebody who's truly pro-life is not just about being pro-life in the womb, but real pro-life is from the womb to the tomb. It's not just about justice in the womb, it's about justice from the womb all the way to the tomb. Some people hang their hat on that one issue of abortion. Some people hang their hat on the one issue of same-sex marriage. Then there are other people who hang their hat on the issue of justice. I believe that being pro-life, because it's from the womb to the tomb, then guess what? Healthcare is a pro-life issue. Poverty is a pro-life issue. And anything pertaining to outside of the womb, justice, police reform, all of these are pro-life issues. There are those who don't believe the same that I believe, but at the end of the day, whoever's in office, you got to hold them accountable. And my loyalty is to God. God is not a Republican. God is not a Democrat. God is all about kingdom.
Man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Well, I mean, that is a big question. Like, I was thinking that all last night. I was like, man, I really need to ask this question, because I think people get it twisted sometimes on your last statement that God is not Republican or Democrat. Like, he's neither of the two. And we want to be what he is. I mean,
exactly.
Is it that simple?
Yeah, it's that simple. You know, this afternoon I had the opportunity to go on V94.9 with Chris Coleman, and we were talking about some of this stuff as well. And one of the things that I'm thinking about is that the Bible talks about kingdom, but in America we have a democracy. We have a skewed view of the kingdom because of our westernized reality of democracy. I believe that people in Europe have a better view of the kingdom because they actually have kings and they have queens in Europe. In a kingdom, the king chooses his subjects. The king, the person in charge, chooses the people under them. In a democracy, the subjects, the citizens, choose the person in charge. So it is actually reversed. It is actually flip-flop. But when you think about God, God is kingdom. He's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. In other words, all I'm trying to say is this: God does not come to take sides. He comes to take over.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, I want to shout out Dr. Barmore that's checked in, that's actually listened to us tonight on, and Wendy Rice. Thank you for hanging out. They're in the comments tonight, just definitely making different comments about what we're doing. So thank you guys for watching. So let me do this. Pastor, we talked about how I thought that was an excellent illustration about kingdom and a democracy. People are in line like right now in Alabama, not like right now, but during the daytime when the courthouse is open, they're doing the absentee voting, like standing in long lines like a week before election day. What do you think about the pulse of the people making sure their voice is heard? What is your perception of that?
It's absolutely important. It's a wonderful thing. It is a beautiful thing. I believe that the people need to make sure that their voice is heard. At the same time, I want to encourage people who are in long lines to be not weary and well doing. In due season, we reap if we faint not. Here's what I think about it for real, Strick. If we can go to Six Flags and stand in line for 3 hours to ride a roller coaster, if we can go to the grocery store on a packed Saturday morning and stand in line for hours at a time to get groceries, then surely those of us who care about the state of the affairs in our country, it doesn't matter how long we got to wait in line, we can go there and stand in line and we can vote.
Man, I think that's awesome. And you're really right about that. Like we need to take all the time that we can to whatever it takes, right? Especially,
Whatever it takes.
listen, if you're living in 2020, I don't care what level you're on, whether somebody in your family is passed, whether somebody in your family is sick or ill, or whether you're prospering. You have a clear opinion, and your voice needs to be heard during this time. And Pastor, I saw the video that you and some of the other pastors in the city put together, and they say, "Hey, as a Christian, I pray, but as a citizen, I
Vote.
vote. I vote."
There you go.
And it's important that, us as Christians, we always say, what is the church saying? Well, if we're Christians, we should be saying we're voting. Our voice is through our vote right now.
Hey, you're absolutely right. Faith without works is dead. So faith causes me to pray, but works causes me to vote. They go hand in hand.
So, I've been talking to several people about this voting thing, and we haven't seen it as much as I thought we would. There's certain pockets in, I guess, the state that have seen different things come through the mail. So there was an absentee voting that you could do early on. That was one way. A judge changed it, and now you got to vote another way. I think it's important for people to understand. That's why the people are standing in line. They want to be sure, no matter what, my vote counts. So if you have, be sure, because you're able to go through the system and see where your vote is. Track it. Track it if you can. Make sure that it is counted. Do you have any information about that, the tracking part of that? Because I know that's part of what they're doing now. You can actually track your vote.
I don't have any information on the tracking. That's something I would have to do more research on, but I definitely agree. If you vote early, make sure that you track it because you want to make sure that your vote counts. I have gotten word that over 25,000 people who voted early at Jefferson County have actually been called back because they did not fill out everything properly. The wonderful thing is that they voted early, so they still have over a week to get it corrected. But it is absolutely amazing how 25,000 people can go down to the Jefferson County Courthouse and wait in line for hours and the votes still not count. We got to definitely make sure we're paying attention.
So Brand in our comments said that you're standing in line for Jordans. Of course, you can stand in line for vote. We stand in line for a whole bunch of stuff. And you said it and she said it. I think it's important for people to And this is an exciting time. Like some people could be like, oh, they could be so negative, all this, woe is me, and the world is going this way and it's that way. Like there's going to be something's going to happen on November 3rd that's going to absolutely, I think, make a change for all of us. And I'm not saying that it may be a change in a person, but the process, like November 3rd is going to happen. And then November 4th, guess what? November 4th is coming, the day after the election. And, you know, I don't think that the world is, go ahead.
I was going to say, they'll try to make you believe that it's not coming. Like the world is coming to an end if Biden wins, or the world is coming to an end if Trump wins. Listen, November the 3rd, God is on the throne. November the 2nd, God is on the throne. November the 4th, God is still on the throne.
Hey, you remember Y2K? Like, I guess it would be 1999, and through the media, I mean, if you let the media tell it, it's over. Like, at 12:01, it's over. Like, the computers are going to shut down. You know, the world is going to, the economy is going to drop. They were scaring everybody. 2020.
Man, I remember that like yesterday. I remember I was a senior in high school. Me and my mom went to the store and bought up all the water. We bought up all the toilet paper and everything else because they were scaring people half to death. Hey, the world is coming to an end. But guess what? We woke up the next day and there we were.
And there you were. There you were. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what all these people did with this toilet paper they bought up at the beginning of the pandemic. Like,
I know.
I mean, like what's going on with all this toilet paper? Like, where did that go?
Well, it was a lot of eating and staying at home, so you know where that went.
Yeah, I guess I do know. So we talked about. I want to talk about this. When we talk about eating and staying home, we talk about this election. I have a positive attitude about it. I have a positive attitude about life. But there's so many people, Pastor, that are struggling with whether it's grief in their family, whether it's because of a loss of a loved one, COVID-19, and then the threat of it for their child catching it, or if their child comes home, one of their parents or grandparents could get it. There's a lot of people that are really mentally hurting and are really affected by this time, and they are downright struggling. Is there anything you could say to kind of help someone that's mentally struggling during this time?
Yeah. One thing that I can say is that I think many of us are looking at the wrong scroll. What do I mean by scroll? Luke chapter number 4, verse 18, Jesus in the synagogue. The synagogue is the old-time equivalent to the modern-day church. And he's in his hometown of Nazareth. And he stands up. When he stands up, they hand him the scroll. The scroll is the scripture of the Old Testament. When he gets this scroll, he unrolls the scroll. And when he unrolls it, he starts reading. And he reads from Isaiah chapter number 61 that says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he's anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to set the captives free, to preach recovering of the sight to the blind, to set at liberty those that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of our Lord. He folds back up the scroll. He says, this day, this prophecy, okay, is recorded in Luke 4:18, but he's reading from Isaiah 61. The prophet Isaiah, he says, this day, this prophecy is fulfilled inside of your hearing. Jesus is reading from the scroll of the scripture. Many of us are not looking at the scroll of the scripture. Many of us are looking at the scroll on Facebook. Many of us are looking at the scroll on our timeline feeds on Instagram. Many of us are scrolling through YouTube. Many of us are scrolling through Yahoo Internet. And guess what? There's nothing wrong with social media. But when you continue to look at social media and that's the only scroll that you're watching, and that scroll of the reality of what's going on inside of our world outweighs the scroll of the scriptures that we have in view inside of our lives, it will literally depress you. It will literally take you under. My wife said, you wake up thinking about stuff heavy. Because, world events are always on my mind. The Bible is on my mind, but God has put a different call on my life for this season. God has literally called me to the world. He has called me to the world. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I don't know how it's going to flesh out. But I wake up with this stuff on my mind. I wake up with the racial injustices on my mind. And I didn't know it, but my wife started to notice it. She said, it's affecting your mood. She said, make sure you're not looking at that scroll more than you look at God's scroll. So the advice that my wife gave to me is the advice that I would give to everybody else. That'll help you stay positive. Sometimes you got to cut it off.
I like that. You said something that I haven't heard before. You said that you feel like you're called to the world. Can you kind of expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so God told me a long, long time ago, and I actually forgot it. He's just brought it to my remembrance in the past maybe month and a half. But a long time ago, he said, I'm calling you to the world. And when I asked God what that meant, he says it means two things. When you think about the word world, think about it in two ways. Number one, geographically. He says, I'm going to send you to different places all over the world. You'll never get away from Birmingham. Birmingham is always going to be your base. But although Birmingham is always your base, I'm calling you to minister to people all over the world. So some of that is being done by way of the internet, but I believe that physically soon, very soon, I'm going to be going all over the world. So it's geographically. The second thing that God told me, he says, when you think about the word world, it is not just geographically. He says, I mean secularly. He said to me, Thomas, you'll never be the king, but I'm going to give you the ear of the king. I'm not calling you to be in the political realm. I'm not calling you to be in politics, but I'm calling you to have a voice in the ear of those who sit in those seats. And so I see some of that manifesting in my life right now. And I believe, sooner than later, it's going to manifest in an even greater way. It's something that I know to be true, something that I didn't go after, something I didn't ask for. And really, quite frankly, something I'm getting my butt kicked for because I'm on the cusp of it. And that's just the way it is before you step into it.
Wow, that's deep, man. That's deep. So everybody that's listening, we all get a chance to hear this from Pastor Beavers, and more importantly, hearing a message like this, I know from being in ministry, the first thing that you do is pray. We want to celebrate and cover our leaders, especially when there is a mandate or a calling to the world. Because as people go and are being seen, we know so many leaders that have a world calling that miss it. So I'm praying for you, Pastor. I love you to death, and I do believe in that word in you, that you do have a national calling, a world calling. But I know there's so many guys that miss it. There's just so many guys that get there and something comes up in their lives, mistakes, bad decisions, and I don't want that for any man of God, especially when most people's hearts are true.
Yeah, man, and I say to God be all the glory, and I don't want to miss it. I solicit your prayers. Thank you for covering me in prayer. To everyone watching, to the membership of New Rising Star Church, Valerie McMillan Jones said something to me just after May 31st when I had the opportunity to speak at Kelly Ingram Park. She said to me, Pastor, we need to just get around you. I know we're doing this social distance thing, but we need to get around you, and we really need to pray for you. Because I sense the call of God that is on your life, and it's a different calling than what you are in right now. And I know that people have been praying. We've yet to have that moment, but I believe that moment is coming soon. I solicit everybody's prayers. I'm praying for you, and I sincerely need your prayers. I don't want to miss it.
Man, there you go. And I truly believe that's where your heart is. Then we talk about the church and ministry, and we talk about COVID-19. in the foreseeable future, what do you think is next for us, church-wise?
Ooh, hey, you know we talk every day, and it changes moment by moment, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does.
It's funny how we'll walk out of a meeting, we say, hey, we're gonna do X, Y, Z. And the next day, hey, do we
That's not
really
a good
want
decision. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
to, or do we want to do A, B, C? However, as far as church is concerned, man, I miss the people of New Rising Star Church. Man, I miss worship like never before. I miss Sunday morning. I miss all three of those services. I miss the 8 o'clock crowd. I miss the 9:30 a.m. crowd. I miss the 12 noon crowd. Man, I miss Lincoln, Alabama. Man, we got a lot of things that are on the cusp. I don't know when we're getting ready to open back up. I do know I haven't officially announced this, but to those who are here, you know, we're not opening back up our building the rest of this year. So we're not going to do that. Maybe sometime in 2021. You know, I know some people who have opened up, and, you know, kudos to them. But when we open up, I don't want to open up with a trickle. I want to open up with a bang. So we want to try to ride this out as long as we can, because I just imagine it being wall to wall. I imagine us having a big thank you service, just a service filled with thanksgiving, just telling God thank you for all of the things that he has brought us over, all of the things that he has brought us through. I can just see it, you know, with my own eyes. I imagine the first service, I already told the praise and worship team, I don't want no contemporary praise and worship. I don't want none of that. We going to church, the first service. So I have no idea when that's getting ready to be, but that's the way I envision it. And we're preparing now. By the time people come back, you already see the work that's been done and being done on the campus. Is going to be a brand new campus. In the next 2 weeks, we're starting our parking lots. I'm super duper excited about that. They've installed the new windows in our early childhood development center.
That's
We have
nice.
in the early childhood development center, the Peggy C. Wynn Learning Center. Peggy Wynn was the first director of the NRS Early Childhood Development Center. I was one of her first students that started in her basement. We were able to do that. That renovation is coming along well. We're going to open up our learning center for the first time at the beginning of January. And it's just going to be filled with excitement, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Like, you know, all those things are really, really cool, especially when it's happening during a pandemic. I really can't say that enough. I mean, I think that a lot of people started out in fear. So for our church and many churches around the country, continuing to grow, continuing to do things during the pandemic, it is the right decision, because we send a message to the world that no matter what is going on, God is still Lord. He's still in his spot. He's still doing what he does. He's still covering us. And that should encourage everybody to do more work. Now, talking about the church opening up, do you want to share with them like how I'm going to be singing like that first Sunday we come back? Do you want to share with them now the song I may be singing?
Yeah, man, you're going to be singing Jesus on the main line. Tell them.
you got to tell them what you want. I know that one too.
They say the line is never busy.
I just want to make sure the people know if you come back, you know.
You gotta call Jesus and you gotta do.
Hey, listen, you don't want that to happen. If you get a busy signal when you're trying to call the Lord, you got a real bad connection that started a long time ago.
Yeah, man.
It started a long time ago, but I just want to encourage the people. So we talked about COVID-19, the pandemic. We talked about how people can be encouraged by reading the right scroll. We talked about the election. And, you know, I want to talk about this racial injustice, because I know you've been like all into this. Like, I've been on the prayer line. So let me say it this way. 6 o'clock every morning, of course, in Birmingham, you come on TV, CW21. So people can see that Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. It's a way for the church to stay connected, right?
Exactly. That's how they can stay connected. So 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, CW 21 in Birmingham, Alabama, and the surrounding areas. 8 a.m. on Sunday, Cincinnati, Ohio, CW 12. And then every single day, 7 days a week, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we are on the prayer line. COVID-19 has literally changed the trajectory of ministry.
Right.
It has shown us what we have been doing, that the season is up. Like, there's some things that were already losing momentum that COVID-19 killed, and we're not going to try to resurrect it after COVID-19. We're going to stop doing it. Right now, we've narrowed our operations down to 3 things. We pray every day. We do outreach on Wednesday. We do online worship Wednesday and on Sunday. And guess what? That's going to be our bread and butter even when we go back. I don't think that we're going to do our 12 noon service again on Wednesdays. We'll probably continue the outreach. I don't want to be what God was. I want to be what God is, and God's hand is clearly on what we are doing right now. We'll continue online Bible study on Wednesdays. We'll meet in person on Sunday.
That's awesome. I mean, very profound statement, and I think people need to get this. You said, I don't want to be where God was. I want to be where he is. Other than those service times and some of the service things that we're doing, do you see any other changes to ministry that is kind of like people are used to? And yes, that's where he was, but this is where we're going to be where he is now?
Yeah. One of the changes I see, our church is a traditional Sunday school model church. That model for us has been slowly dwindling. It was not something that you could just automatically take away because of the history and the foundation of our church. You didn't want to pull the rug from under people. But at the same time, we got to find a way to do discipleship when that model is slowly dwindling. So what I see in the future, I believe that discipleship is going to be online. We're going to meet in person on Sunday, but our version of small groups is going to be Zoom groups. We haven't gotten that started yet, but I know that's up and coming, that's forthcoming. When we do it, we want to do it well, but we want to have Zoom groups for anything that you can imagine to make sure that people are not just connected to the pastor. We want people to be connected to each other.
So I started down the line, Pastor, talking about our prayer time, because that prayer call at 6:30 in the morning is incredible. So not only is it on Facebook Live on your page, Pastor Beavers, but there's also a conference line that people could call. But what I really want to get to, there was a while there where you were really on it about the racial injustice. Like, I mean, it was heavy on your heart talking about it. And this is something where I feel like people need to hear it, need to kind of know your thoughts, because it continues to happen in the United States. I would just want you to share your position, your thought when we talk about America and the racial injustice we've seen over the years.
Well, we've seen a lot of racial injustice over the years. However, I can say for me personally, when Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd hit at the same time, something clicked in me. And I was different in an instance. I have never felt as passionate about it as I feel right now. Some things are a problem, but not all problems bother you the same. The problem that bothers you the most is the problem that you are called to. I'm going to say it again because I want somebody to think about that. Sometimes you can see a problem, but not all problems bother you the same. The problem that bothers you the most is the one that you're called to. Racial injustice really, really bothers me, particularly because I've experienced it myself when I never thought that I would have to experience it. So as a consequence, I mean, it goes back to May 31st, Pentecost Sunday. After church, I had the opportunity to speak at Kelly Ingram Park. God gave me a message 3 years prior to this ever taking place entitled Lift Every Voice. Who would have known that would be the moment, that would be the scene and the stage that I would deliver that message when I had already delivered that message, I think on 2 separate occasions to our church. But at that particular time, I got the opportunity to deliver that message to the city of Birmingham and even to the world by way of internet as it has traveled all over the world. And then from that, I just kind of got thrown into it. I kind of got thrust into it. People started calling, asking to have conversations, asking to have interviews about it. And then I really had to start doing my research. Like, how did we get to where we are? And now that everybody is on tiptoe anticipation and down with this movement, then how do we take all of this momentum and capitalize on it? Because guess what? Excitement is one thing, but at the beginning and the end of the day, what is it that we really want? You know, some people ask, what can I do? What plan do you have for me? What is it that we really want? I've been working with a group of ministers, which is what our press conference was about on today. And now behind the scenes, we've been meeting with elected officials, particularly in the area of police reform. We've learned that there's a federal bill on the table called the Tim Scott bill. The original version of that bill did not have the type of teeth inside of it that we deem necessary for the safety and the security of the parishioners that we pastor. There was another version of the Tim Scott bill crafted, but we've learned through those meetings that the bill is essentially dead. It's not going to be readdressed and voted on until after the election. But here's the problem. We cannot wait until after the election. Can't wait till after the election because many of our parishioners are living in fear for their very lives because every time they look at the scroll of social media and the scroll of the news on a national level, there's another injustice of police brutality at stake. And though we recognize that the scene that we're seeing nationally has not been the scene that we've seen recently in Birmingham, Alabama, we do understand the plight of our parishioners and the fear that they are facing at this particular moment in time. And we know that Birmingham, hear this clearly, is the birthing place of the civil rights movement. And because it's the birthing place of the civil rights movement, we believe that Birmingham, which used to be the capital of police brutality, Birmingham is now the change, and Birmingham is now becoming the model for what every other city ought to be modeling at this particular moment in time. Birmingham has the 8 can't wait plan. It addresses the banning of chokeholds. And we also had the opportunity to meet with the police chief. He gave us his Birmingham Police Accountability Report. That report was very, very balanced. It's a public document. Anybody can go on the website and look at it. In that report, it gives all of the officers and their offenses and how they have been reprimanded over the last 2 years. And it also gives all of the officers and the good work that they have done and the rewards that they have received for their good work. And so Birmingham, though not without error, it is undeniably true that Birmingham has been proactive. So I want to applaud the city for that. At the same time, in every meeting that we've had, we've addressed 5 things. We've addressed the issue of qualified immunity. We've talked about the issue of banning no-knock warrants. We've talked about mandatory implicit and explicit bias training for police. We talked about setting up a police citizens review board, particularly elected by popular vote. And we've talked about the demilitarization of the police, not the defunding, but the demilitarization of the police. Birmingham does not necessarily have these terms in their plan. But the thing I like about their plan is that it's ever evolving and ever changing. It's not an end all, be all. However, Birmingham has started down the path to address at least 3 of our 5 concerns. One of the concerns cannot be addressed at a local level. It has to be addressed at a federal level. So we've been pushing that as well. It's all down in me. We're doing the research every day and we're trying to make change happen behind the scenes.
I absolutely love it. Let me say this, Pastor. I remember back in March when the pandemic started and we actually had to cancel Sunday service and not knowing what to do. We had to really focus and get technology up to par to do live streaming. And we were really trying to figure it all out. Now we're, almost into November. And I
Yeah.
gotta say this for the people to know it. Like, you haven't stopped. You've actually done more work. You're talking to more people. You're involved in more stuff. You've taken the time to educate yourself on more issues for the community. I know you're a pastor and we got to stay in the word, but sometimes you also have to understand the social unrest that's going on around you, because we have to minister to that as well. And I got to say this, you've been doing that. So for people that are out there that may not know about what's happening in Birmingham, could you please talk about how, like right now, we're doing things weekly to affect people, whether it's our food donations and other things that's going on?
Yeah, so when my grandfather was alive, he always used to ask me this question: if the building burned down, would the community miss us? And if you cannot answer that question with a yes, then why are you still open in the first place? As a
That's good.
consequence, on a weekly basis, we've been giving away food. We started doing this before the pandemic, but it's picked up even more since the pandemic has been going on. So we feed over 500 families every single week. Not 500 people, 500 families. That equates to a minimum of 1,500 people every single week. Man, if you could see the cars that are lined up in Birmingham, Alabama, if you can see the cars that are lined up in Lincoln, Alabama, we're building our base for when it is that we get ready to launch our church in Lincoln. If we weren't going to launch in Lincoln, we wouldn't still be in Lincoln giving food. So we're going down there with a purpose to make a mark in that community and to reach those people in that community. So we do that every single Wednesday. Coupled with that, on Wednesday, we've also been doing voter registration. It's past the deadline to register to vote now, so we're no longer doing that. But we did that for an entire month, registered over 350 people to vote.
That's awesome.
Up until voter registration was over. We partnered with Dr. Johnny Edwards and To the Polls to Vote. We've also been doing COVID-19 testing on Wednesdays in Birmingham and in Lincoln, Alabama. So last week was the first time we did it in Lincoln, Alabama. Tomorrow we're doing COVID-19 testing in Lincoln, Alabama. Again, big shouts out to Dr. Lachelle Barmore, my doctor. She's the one who hooked us up with it.
She did that?
She did that for
Dr.
a group
Barmore?
Atlanta, Georgia. And so
That's what's up.
to do what we can do. Not to mention, every first Wednesday we give away diapers. Every first Wednesday we have a citywide baby shower. And the gift that we is diapers. And so we've been doing a lot.
And I wanted to say that so people would know that we're not just talking. There's a lot of things that are happening at the Star. And for people that don't know, so let me say this really quick. Of course, people that are on the call tonight, y'all know me as Strick, and this is Strick City Live. Dr. Thomas Beavers is my pastor and also my boss. So I have the awesome opportunity to work with him and to move the kingdom forward through the Star. And it has been phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So I see it, Pastor, as a pleasure to follow your lead in ministry, to work with you and to kind of make all of your ideas and plans. And when you go see God and you say, hey, we need to do this, to be on board with that, to make things happen on the east side of Birmingham. Dude, I love you. And I love the opportunity that you give me to do ministry with you. And, man, we got a lot of work to do. We got to see 2021 as bigger and better than ever before.
I know, man, and I love you too, man. We spent an incredible amount of time together. I thought we spent a lot of time together before the pandemic, but we've spent so much more time together since the pandemic. You've been such a tremendous blessing to me, man, and the feeling is mutual. The love is just the same, man. I'm excited to be in ministry with you.
Hey, brother, I know our time is rounding up. You got anything else you want to say to the people?
Man, I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you to everybody. I love you so much. Keep praying for us.
How can they be in contact with you? How can they get more information about what the church is doing?
Yeah, www.beatmetothe.star, the number 2, beatmetothe.star.net. The easiest way to get information, text the word STAR to 94253. Text the word STAR to 94253. That enables you to join our text list for up-to-the-minute information, for up-to-the-minute updates of everything that's going down at the Star during this time. Every time we go live, I'm going to shoot you a text.
That's what's up, man. We got to get them connected, right? Hey, this has been Strick City Live with Dr. Thomas Beavers. Man, I appreciate you so much for hanging out with me. Pastor, hold what you got there. Listen, there's so much going on during this pandemic. Don't allow yourself to get trapped with a woe is me attitude. God has not moved. There are people in this country that are doing their very best to supply other folks with food, to continue in ministry. I wanted to kind of show you the heart of a young man here in the city that is trying to move forward in the middle of all this stuff, even while shepherding a flock of people virtually. It can be done. So whatever it is that's going on in your life, guess what? It can be done. It can be overcome. God is still on the throne. Hey, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Everybody is in the comments. Thank y'all so very much for watching tonight. I was encouraged by Pastor Beavers. I learned some more stuff from him. And man, I just see so much coming in the years to come from the Star Church and Dr. Thomas Beavers. So y'all watch out for what's going on in Birmingham, Alabama. And I see y'all Thursday night. I'm actually talking to the very first African-American mayor of Irondale. Is it really 2020? We're going to talk to him on Thursday, 8 o'clock. I'll see y'all then, man. Why not hang out with me again? You could do it, right?